Good morning, everybody. How are you today? So, last period we finished the states of matter or the states of water, and we said we have three different states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Then we continued with the main details or the main characteristics of solids and liquids and gases. And we said solids have definite shape and definite volume. Liquids have only definite volume, not definite shape, because it takes the shape of its container, and gases no definite shape and no definite volume. Why solids have definite shape and definite volume? Because of the particles very close to each other. So because of this situation of particles or atoms, we call the solids have definite shape and definite volume, so it's hard to change the shape. The bonds between atoms or particles very strong. Liquids further than solids. Okay, so they slide to each other, so they take the shape of the container that holds them. Then gases no definite shape and no definite volume, because the bonds between particles so weak and so far, so they have freely movement or free motion. Okay, then we continued with the change of state, and we said the change of state means when the state of matter changes from one to another. Means it means from solid into liquid, what we call it; from liquid into gas, what we call it; from solid into liquid, what we call it? We call it what? Solid to liquid, melting. Then liquid into gas, we call it what? Evaporation. And the second direction, gas into liquid, condensation. Then from liquid into solid, we call it freezing, which needs energy and which releases energy. So we said melting and evaporation from solid into liquid, they need heat to change. They need heat to change, so they absorb energy, or we have to add energy. Add energy means add heat to liquid to make it gas. Now take heat from gas to decrease the temperature to make it liquid. So here releases energy, and here the same, releases energy. Okay, and the law of conservation of mass means if you have, for example, one object, okay, and this object 100 gram, okay, then we cut this object into pieces like this, for example. The mass of them together equals what? 100 grams. So if we change the shape or the volume or the size of object, the mass will stay conserved. Okay, it will not change. So because the mass is stayed constant here, okay, we call it the law of conservation of mass. Okay, so that was in last lesson. Our lesson today, we are gonna learn about the change of or some physical changes. What are some physical changes? What are some physical changes? Okay, when we learned about matter, we said matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. Okay, and physical property, listen carefully. Physical property is a characteristic we can observe it of matter. We can observe it or measure it directly. And we said like size, color, shape, texture, mass, volume, and density, all of them physical properties, not physical changes, physical properties. So any characteristic of matter, we can observe it or measure it directly, we call it physical property. So what is physical change? The change in physical property means, listen, if we have an object, okay, and physical means the appearance of this object, chemical means inside it, the bonds inside it, okay, physical means the appearance. For example, the shape of this object is rectangle, like this paper, okay, so this paper have rectangular shape. If we make the paper like this, okay, so we changed what? We changed the shape, we changed the size, okay, but one thing stayed constant. What is it? So maybe we can change the shape, the size, for example, the volume, the mass, the density, etc. Okay, so the change in physical property, we call it physical change. But which thing stayed without any change? So this was paper, okay. When we cut this paper, for example, or we fold this paper, okay, tying papers, folding papers, cutting papers, the paper stayed paper. This is what? Paper, and this paper, and this paper. So we have the same matter here. The matter didn't change. Which thing has been changed? What? The physical property or the appearance. So what is a physical change? Physical change means what? Physical change is a change of matter, or is a change that, okay, matter doesn't change. So it keeps the matter without any change. The change will be with size, with shape, with color, with volume, with any physical property. So the change in physical property, we call it physical change. The change in chemical property, we call it chemical change. Okay, but later chemical change. Let's learn more about physical changes. Like what? If you want to make salad, you have to cut cucumbers, tomatoes, okay? So this physical or chemical? Physical, because cucumber stayed cucumber and tomato stayed tomato. If the matter didn't change, we call it physical change. Listen up. To know physical or chemical, ask if the matter didn't change, okay, if the matter didn't change, so we have what? Physical change. Okay, like what? If I said breaking glass, physical or chemical? Number two, cutting wood, physical or chemical? Now, cutting or tying or folding papers, for example. We know here, breaking glass, the glass will stay glass. So this is physical change. Cutting wood, the wood will stay wood. Physical. Cutting paper, physical. Okay? Now, let's remember our previous lesson. We said the change of state. If we add energy to matter, what will happen? Change of state. Solid into liquid or liquid into gas. Okay? So the change of state means what? From solid into liquid, we call it what? Melting. So melting, physical or chemical? And evaporation, physical or chemical? Condensation, or freezing. Okay, physical or chemical. So let's remember the question. You have to ask, if the matter didn't change, we have physical change. Okay, if the matter didn't change, we have physical change. So for example, if we have water, okay, from solid means ice into liquid water, into liquid water here. Ice means what? Water in the solid states. So the matter didn't change. Only the shape, the appearance, the state of it has changed. So the change of state is a physical change because it didn't change the matter. Melting, evaporation, condensation, and freezing, all of them physical changes. Okay? So, physical change is any change in matter that then give a new substance. Okay? If we don't have new materials or new substances, we have physical changes. Okay? So, like folding or tying papers, like cutting wood, cutting fruits, vegetables, anything else that didn't change the matter, we call it physical change. Also, the change of state, we call it physical change. And later you'll call these states what? Physical states of matter. Okay? Then you have to know melting, freezing, evaporation, and condensation are physical changes. Okay? Then chemical, later next period will explain about it. So the opposite of physical means chemical. It gives new substances. So cutting papers, for example, this is physical, and burning paper, this is chemical. Next period will explain more specific details about this. So I hope till here is clear. Have a nice day and see you next video, inshallah.